China's Health Commission is warning the ability of the deadly coronavirus to spread is getting stronger. It comes as the number of people infected by the new virus has jumped to nearly 2,000. That's a 50% increase on the previous statistic. 56 people have died so far. Authorities are also warning about the risks of the virus mutating.
And based on the knowledge we now have, this is an emerging and new disease. The knowledge we have is quite limited. We are not very clear about the source of the disease, and the infections are not entirely under our control. So based on the changes and the evolvement of the infections, we would enhance our preparedness to respond to the possible changes of the infections.
Well, this latest development follows President Xi Jinping's warning that the country faces a grave situation. Authorities are now warning that the virus is contagious during its incubation period. That is different from the SARS virus, and that virus, SARS, killed more than 800 people globally in 2003. The incubation period of the new coronavirus is anything from 1 to 14 days. China's Health Commission insists it will be taking more measures to curb the spread of coronavirus, but hasn't yet outlined specific details. They have, though, banned the sale of wildlife in markets and restaurants, although it hasn't been confirmed that is how the virus crossed into humans. Many people believe it happened through snakes. Well, this is the effect the current quarantine is having in Wuhan. That's the city at the centre of the outbreak. Officials preventing people from leaving or entering. It seems that most of the population is staying indoors. Our correspondent Steve McDonald is in Nanyang, having just visited Hubei province, close to the exclusion zone.
Well, it's still in a pretty dire state. I mean, hospitals are calling for donations from people in terms of face masks. The provincial government has ordered millions of face masks, so somewhere they're churning them out on the production line. Special military medical teams have arrived to bolster the local teams and also teams from Shanghai. But the problem is just so huge, and the lockdown area, if you could call it that, is getting wider and wider. Now, so where we are, we're just across the border from Hubei in Henan, but this is also a place with very much at the heart of this emergency. All of these cars are either from this small city or they've had to pass a screening point to enter. Cities right along this border area in the region are doing similar things. In some smaller villages and towns, they've just taken it upon themselves to say anybody who's an outsider who doesn't live there can't come in. So they're just kind of locking down the village and deciding we're going to, as a group, ride this out and don't let any outsiders out, sort of an effective self-quarantine protective zone. And the government in Beijing, given the extent of this problem, is considering much more drastic measures. Hundreds of thousands of people left Hubei before that transport lockdown was in place. Some of them were sick, seeking treatment, so they've gone to Shanghai, Beijing and other places seeking treatment. Now imagine they're taking the virus with them. That means the problem has also moved elsewhere. And so we could also see in the big cities of like Shanghai, Beijing, transport lockdowns in place there. They're already talking about preventing some transport arriving at the Chinese capital. Now, that hasn't happened yet. But again, it just shows how seriously the authorities are taking this and their preparedness to take much more drastic steps to try and control this problem.
Steve McDonald reporting there.